Hi everyone, I'm Liang. This is my portfolio. I have structured around an idea of architecture duality, a relationship that formed position concept to each other, and it was always existing between historical moments or in one single building as well. The first thing I want to clarify that this folio does not lead to one continued orientation, but an architecture of multiplicity that in order richness and duality consequence. In this folio, I try to demonstrate some way that the architecture who as an intermediate surrogate that demand to find some way to bridging the multiple desire into spatial. On the one hand, a single building be emerged ambiguous relationship from kind of fragments, that from archaeology of heritage and functional requirements. Therefore, it will be uncolorful and asymmetric formed from each subjective abstraction. On the other hand, pure and minimalism aesthetics forms will be investigated. It comes from the rejection of decoration, so there will avoid to consider the coexisting problem that are exposed by some kitsch buildings. Chapter 1: Duality in one single building. Louis Kahn categorized space into categories: servant and serviced. So there I established this kind of contrast relationships in one single project building, Geelong Convention Center. The president's study is Louis Kahn's Ashwick House. The serving elements, pipes, sinks, toilets, air ducts, electric wiring, are to be segregated from surveyed space. In order to prevent an invasion of unsanitary utilitarianism and conserve the dignity of pure architecture space. About how to reflect on my project. This volume diagrams demonstrate that the spatial observant are located at the both sides of the rectangle geometry. Servant spatial as a vertical structure before the service staff, such like elevator, stairs, and electric facility. Also is extended continue vertically from the whole building to the underground car parking lot as well. What I interested in is the served and servant are direct connect without hierarchy and intermediate zone that allowed service spatial are exposed as possible as from limited volume. Therefore, this kind of nature of duality in this office, evoking that primary belonged service space are separate of technical or functional complexities, and serving space celebrate their own functionalism and intricacy. Duality between two chapters. As follow, two chapters are formed a position relationship that between recursion and vagueness. Recursion occurs when a thing is defined in terms of itself or of its type, where a function being defined is applied within its own definition. In this studio, the allo system is kind of algorithm that relies heavily on recursion. Allo system as the mainly algorithm continued to generate a range of iterations. The primary component form, organized with the orientation anchors and root side together. At the fabrication stage, the studio focused on the crossover of digital tools alongside traditional timber handcrafting technologies. They operate the HoloLens, an augmented reality headset, in conjunction with hologram to assemble physical model directly without construction drawings. The digital fabrication system design, including fabrication interface design and assembly stage setting, What interests me is a lot each trunk size manageable max reality on drawing, cutting motion, and assembly as well. Overall, this kind of intelligent programs and digital augmented equipment in order clearing and standardization during fabrication process. Duality between two chapters. This second chapter is entirely different last one, particularly in position aspects on architecture conceptual thinking, so it will be richness form and weakness relationship in multiple layers. In this studio, each week we have different proposition and manner that busy on ENC office and some provocations that from heritage archaeology and president study. At the same time, along with emerging of new heritage building that established by each peer's work, consider kind of fragments and remnants are deconstructed many times. For reflect this movie deconstruction way, for remake 5 new variants from the 5 abstraction. We abstract the 5 point from reading views of unfinished interior and emerged with earlier Stephen Howard present study, the Boolean intersection and artificial light application in this project. The scale changes always clarify alignment and ambiguity relationship in each container and artifact that established by multiple authors. Therefore, with such an exhausted and weakness journal. In this studio, what I found, this kind of thought form be merged with range of provocations that from the building itself and historical experience. During the procedure of design, we harmony and wake those physical stuff and mental things. In order one single building evoked multiple layers to clarify relationship that between environment and the building itself. Also inclusion those contradiction as well. As demonstration, this kind of weakness obviously not established on physical level, more from invisible relationship, that harmony from subjective consciousness is also reflected in my sculpture project, Illegal Case. The case fragments from the abstraction in range of paintings, present study, and readings about the desire. The present study from Rodin's Gate of Hell. This is a change between two physical way as an collection way be merged on the gate. For reflect that the case paintings be collective and curving in unbolt, for demonstrate multiple feeling and imagination of desire. In conclusion, in this toolbox about architecture strategies, the Geelong Convention Center considered that the function and the service area in space, the space have duality furnitures, servant and servant. The service area are entirely exposed, that in order the office building could more diversity and in conclusion, at the special dynamic functional changing. At the different studio algorithm be generated in range of matrix iterations. We assemble use HoloLens headset for trunks fabrication, allow the parametric design simplify the fabrication procedure without working drawing instead of staging setting in hologram. Finally, the force and form and the sculpture design focus on composition form with subjective weakness between the range of archaeology provocations and present study, put in one single building or project in order the space contain richness and contradiction functional requirements and spatial aesthetics. Put in one single project in order contain richness and contradiction functional requirement and spirit aesthetics. About my future trajectory, I'll focus on archaeology of historical moments on several architecture stages that perhaps found some value that refined it and promoted the complex composition, and form it with contemporary method.